Hello everyone, GL1 here. Welcome to my toy museum, and I have some other new dinosaurs to talk with you about today. And I'm going to start with Elaphrosaurus, but no laughing matter. So Elaphrosaurus here is a late Jurassic dinosaur found in Africa. Late Jurassic is about 154 million years ago in this case. And it was contemporary with several dinosaurs, and I've grouped them together. So this group here is contemporary with Elaphrosaurus. Now, they may not have all been in the same location, but then again, the continents were mushed together, and there could have been definitely dinosaurs closer or in more places, and we just haven't found the fossils and may never find all the fossils. But the interesting thing about this dinosaur, it is a theropod, which means it's a two-legged dinosaur, and it may not have been a meat eater. It might have actually been an herbivore or an omnivore, meaning that it would eat anything. So the reason they think that is it shares a lot of common traits with the dinosaur that was similarly built, Lemursaurus. It has similar neck bones and certain other properties to it that is a known herbivore. So anyway, that's very interesting to find, a theropod that may not have been, carnivorous. Although if it was omnivore, like a pig, it kind of would eat anything that's available. Now, this dinosaur was not particularly large. It was about 450 pounds, and it was contemporary, certainly, as I'd said, with these dinosaurs here, one of them being Kentrosaurus. And the thing about, how would you attack a dinosaur like Kentrosaurus? I mean, it can swing its tail at you with spikes on it. It has spikes on its side. If you could try to get it around the neck, it might be able to angle these plates into your mouth. Very difficult if it was a predator. Now, also contemporary with Elaphrosaurus was, again, we have Stegosaurus, because Kentrosaurus and Stegosaurus were also contemporary. So if it were to approach a dinosaur like this, I mean, it's much smaller, but certainly these spikes, would definitely be a big negative, right? And a predator that was contemporary with Elaphrosaurus was Ceratosaurus, which was larger. So Ceratosaurus was about 2,200 pounds. All right, so, much larger, about 4 or 5 times as large, 26 feet long. And if you look at even Ceratosaurus, how would it attack a dinosaur like Kentrosaurus, right? It would be very difficult for it to do that without getting hurt. We even have this dinosaur here, which is Miragaia, which, remember, it actually is the size of Kentrosaurus. So once again, I mean, this is if it were bigger, a very difficult dinosaur to attack with all those spikes. And another contemporary was, at least at the time period, but it was in China, is Chialingosaurus. But again, these are difficult things for dinosaurs to attack, right? With all this armament and spikes. And having stegosaurs in the same show as I just did with ankylosaurs makes sense, because actually they are related distantly, but they are related. And speaking of that, I have some dinosaurs that were contemporary with Ankylosaurus, and this is a new one that just came out. And then this is the Bisty Beast, which was found in Mexico, and it's Bistahieversor. All right, and it is a tyrannosaurid, which means it is related to Tyrannosaurus, and it actually was about 10 million years before Tyrannosaurus, so at least as far as we know. It was 30 feet long, about 5,000 pounds, found in Mexico, and this toy has some interesting features. Now, one of the things you'll notice is it's more bent than usual. You know, it's sort of like sneaking up on something. And you do have the articulation in the shoulder. You have the two short arms with the two fingers, like a tyrannosaurid. And you even can adjust the feet a little bit to help it balance. And if, you know, you can look at Tyrannosaurus and see the feet are similar. As far as its special features, you have two buttons on the back, and one button here activates and allows it to move its spikes. Now, whether or not it could do that, it's possible it could, like it could have had muscles that would do that. And that may actually be something that a stegosaur could do too. It may have been able to control its plates and move them in a way to make it more advantageous as a weapon or, well, defense. The other feature has another button, and no sounds on this, but it does sort of a biting, you know, puts its head down and bites. And you can see it's got quite a large mouth and the tongue in there. And this is where you can find the information. There's your scan code. I like the way they're putting the scan codes in the spikes. You know, they're not obvious. But I still think what would really be great, I have some dinosaur toys, which I did a show on a long time ago now, probably, a year and a half ago, where my 1960s plastic dinosaur toys had the names embossed in the plastic of the dinosaur and the length of the dinosaur. And instead of having to have software that you scan it and get the code and then look up a whole bunch of stuff, I mean, that's nice, but it'd be great to really just, not always have to have something digital around to be able to find out what dinosaur it is, right? To just be able to, have the name here and maybe the length, and why not the weight as well. Now, this dinosaur was contemporary with Pentaceratops. So, would you want to tangle with Pentaceratops? Would you want to tangle with Pentaceratops? I mean, I think that this could go very badly for the Bistahieversor. All right. Now, the Bistahieversor was discovered in 2010, so that's another fact I wanted to mention. But moving on with this battle, this is what could happen, right? I mean, you come in underneath it and hit it with its horns, and even if it doesn't kill it, it might wound it in such a way that it gets an infection and dies, or is then more vulnerable to another predator, maybe even another Bistahieversor. We don't know their behavior. And he would have to come up behind it, right, and then get at the neck. Although, perhaps, like a Komodo dragon, they had a very toxic bite, whether there was some kind of poison or bacteria. And maybe all it would have to do is just a running bite, just a slash, and get bacteria into the blood of the Pentaceratops, and then, wait for it to die. That's definitely a strategy. But certainly, I think going up against a dinosaur this large and dangerous could be very dangerous for our Bistahieversor there. Now, contemporary with the Bistahieversor is another tyrannosaurid, Dryptosaurus, from 67 million years ago up in Appalachia. So this dinosaur would have also disappeared very possibly during the final days of the dinosaurs. And though it's a tyrannosaurid, it does have 3 fingers, and it does a little roar there. But I brought this up because I thought what was interesting about this dinosaur is that it's a similar design in terms of having all these spikes all over it. So I thought that was kind of neat. But it's 25 feet long, 2,000 pounds. So it's more delicately built than our Bisty Beast. It's about half the weight, actually a little less than half, and about 5 feet shorter. So let's see how they are to scale. Does it look that way? Well, it's definitely shorter. It may not really be 5 feet in this. Well, no, you know what? Yeah, might be 5 feet, right? So it's good. I like the way they often almost scale the dinosaurs. And contemporary with those dinosaurs was our Ankylosaur. And, as I had said, the Ankylosaurs were distantly related to our Stegosaurs. And you can kind of see there is a similar, armament. You have spikes, you have an armored back, and, the Stegosaurs were way before the Ankylosaurs, at least this Ankylosaurus, which actually was about 100 million years later. But it's certainly conceivable that it would evolve a greater armament on its back, and this club-like tail, again, continuing the idea of having a tail as a weapon. And it is thought that a club like this, when swung hard enough, would break the legs of a tyrannosaurid and render him helpless, certainly knock him down and give him second thoughts about attacking again. And, it's possible they also fought, they would group together to protect the young and perhaps all swing their tails and just make it very difficult for any kind of attack. And, a smart predator doesn't want to get wounded because then it's vulnerable to other predators or infection. So, definitely the Ankylosaurs were formidable. All right. And, an Ankylosaur is a large, heavy dinosaur, as noted in the last episode. Ankylosaur is, 16,000 pounds. And going up against a 5,000-pound Tyrannosaurid, probably not a good idea for the Tyrannosaurid, right? Probably would go look for an easier meal somewhere else. All right. Now, we're going to go back in time, and I'm going to take you back to before the dinosaurs. And this was in the most recent Jurassic World movie, but it's not a dinosaur. This is Nothosaurus, and I was really looking forward to them coming out with a Nothosaurus toy, and they did again. Now, there is an earlier Nothosaurus toy that came out years ago, I believe in the 90s, and I missed out on that one. So, nice to have this one. Now, the Nothosaur is from, as I had said, the Triassic, which is really a significant long time ago. This is, the dinosaurs were, maybe 150, 170 million years ago. This goes back to 247 million years ago. So much older. And it was discovered in 1834. So again, it's been around quite a while, but we don't really know about it, right? We don't hear much about this. And its name means false lizard. Now, another dinosaur from the Triassic period, but not the same period as Nothosaur, was the Dimetrodon. And that's that dinosaur that's about, this size, but has the big fan on the top. And you can see that in one of my other dinosaur episodes. So that's Dimetrodon, if you want to look that up. All right, so this dinosaur is semi-oceanic, like a crocodile. So crocodiles actually can go in salt water, unlike alligators, which tend to not do well in salt water, but crocodiles actually have special glands to deal with the salt. So Nothosaur also could do that. It's about 20 feet long, and it is related to a plesiosaur. All right, so a plesiosaur, I have some different plesiosaurs here, and you'll be able to see the similarity. Now, this is the small plesiosaur, and the plesiosaur is also a group of dinosaurs, so there are multiple plesiosaur dinosaurs. But all right, here's the small one. All right, and you can see there's a similar design in their bodies. This is got, feet and perhaps webbed toes for swimming, and, the feet have turned into fins in this case. All right. Well, also the Elaphrosaurus, which is in a recent episode, is a really large plesiosaur. But you can see there's a lot of similarity to the mouth design, again with the Elaphrosaurus and the Nothosaurus. All right, and these are fish-catching mouths. You can imagine how it would use its head to snap at fish, and with those snaggle teeth, just grab onto it. All right, and I like the articulation on this. It's just simple. You got a little bit of tail movement, but it would be nice if the head kind of turned sideways. That would be cool. But, all right, it looks cool. And then, surprisingly perhaps, another plesiosaur is Elaphrosaurus. So Elaphrosaurus is, certainly very different in its body design than Elaphrosaurus, but it is a relative to a plesiosaur. And again, you can see it's got a similar head design. It's just the neck is shorter and thicker, and again, the limbs have turned into fins. So, but it is a plesiosaur, or related to, distantly related, right? And yeah, this toy, you push a button down, makes like similar whale sounds. Our Elaphrosaurus toy does the head down and bite, and then it is the head shift over and bite with the other button. So just to see how those toys work. And the nice thing about the, you can play the Elaphrosaurus, the Plesiosaurus, and the Nothosaurus is you can play in the water with them, but you can't do that with the Elaphrosaurus because the electronics will get ruined. So don't do that. Now, in the last dinosaur episode, I coined a term called a metasaurus. And, the metasaurus that I was talking about initially was the Oranosaurus, right? And one of the things I wanted to mention about my theory on this is that, like a lot of, mammals that really don't have any defenses, the way that they stop from being predated on is to blend into their environment and hide. Now, these are big dinosaurs, but there also was a lot of big plants. And I think that the way a dinosaur like this would try to avoid getting eaten, certainly large groups, but probably camouflage would be a very effective way of avoid being eaten. So oftentimes with these Jurassic World toys, they don't know the color of the dinosaurs. And sometimes they'll make them in very extravagant colors. And that somewhat makes sense because they're related to birds, and birds come in, multiple colors. But if you are a prey item, you don't really have any defenses, you're not probably going to want to display a lot of bright colors. So the color you might really want to be is something like browns and greens, something that will blend into your environment. So having a bright color, I know that there's a crocodile dinosaur, and that's in the last episode, Sarcosuchus, and I have a brown one, but they also made one that was very brightly colored. And I doubt, personally, that it was brightly colored because then it wouldn't be able to hide in the water and ambush prey items. They might see it. So that's, just a thought. Another duck-billed dinosaur, okay, that, again, now this is brightly colored, but I'm not sure that that's really realistic. This is Perasalophalos, and I hope I'm saying that right. 37 feet long, 5,500 pounds, all right, and makes some noise, you know. And, you have this big nasal cavity, perhaps for making noise. But again, this might be a dinosaur that really might want to hide. Maybe it can run fast, but T-Rexes ran fast too. So, being able to blend into the environment might be a good strategy. So perhaps bright colors would not be a good idea on that dinosaur. Just theorizing. And another Metasaurus, another duck-billed dinosaur, is the Edmontosaurus. All right. Now, the thing about Edmontosaurus, it does have an advantage. It was huge. So it could be 39 feet, 40 feet long, and 15,000 pounds, which would be bigger, heavier than a T-Rex. So its size alone may have discouraged predation. So perhaps it did have some bright colors on it. It could do something to intimidate, predators, maybe just hit them with its tail, to be so big. And the Edmontosaurus also is capable of getting up on its hind feet as well. So perhaps but it had the duck bill, but it was built in a way that it could, for probably short periods of time, stand up on its back feet. And probably also the Perasaurolophus dinosaur as well. So perhaps all of these could. I mean, they all have that similar body design. But all right, so there you go. Today, Nothosaurus and relatives, and we have the Elaphrosaurus right here, and then the brand new Bistahieversor or Beast right here, which is a really cool dinosaur. I know you can find all of these. This one's really, these two are easy to find. This one, maybe not so much right now. But see if you can. I think they're pretty cool, and they'll make a good addition to a dinosaur collection. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.